Well, good morning, everybody. I don't know if we have everybody here yet, but hi, everyone. Um, so you are starting your first day back or your first day back to school in a while for some of you. This is Humber's event management program, and my name is Ron Coughlin, and I welcome you. This is a different way to get together, obviously, virtually, but we will be having one of these classes approximately once a week. Sometimes they'll be pre-recorded. I will be recording these, however, and posting them in the Blackboard site, which we'll go over today as well. So again, my name is Ron Coughlin, and I'm going to be your virtual professor for the term. So let's just kind of start off today by kind of easing into this a little bit. So that we can get a good sense of an understanding of sales and sponsorship when it comes to event management. So what I'd like to do to kind of get you guys talking, because you're all quiet out there on the Zoom channel, is to do a little bit of an exercise to start things off. So what I'd like you to do is one of two things. I want you to think about the word sponsorship, and I want you to write down what comes to mind. And then in the chat area, I'd like you to start to just typing what comes to mind right away. And if you want, you can blurt it out. I don't mind. So let's just see what we got here. I'm gonna stop this. Here we go. So we got lots of things happening here. We got sports, exposure, expenses, money. Yeah, money's a good one for sponsorship. You got to raise funds for sponsorship. We got funding, more funding and activities, support, donations, resources, partnerships, communications. Yeah, lots of different words here. Partnership, I like that one. And community involvement. Donating, that's one form, yes. Resources, social media exposure, very good one. We're going to talk a lot about that. That's really important in today's sponsorship world, especially in events. Promotions, celebrity endorsements. Yes, another form of celebrity endorsements is social media influencers, which we're going to get into as well. So anything else, guys? We got exposure. Did everybody put something down here? Okay, so thanks everyone for that quick start. Now, the next thing I'd like to do is I'd like you all to go to the Blackboard site. So the Blackboard site, most of you probably have been on the site already. And I want to give you about 10 minutes. What I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you sign in. You're going to go to the Blackboard site, and I'll just show you what that looks like right now. 1 second. So the Blackboard site, I don't know if that's the one I want to share. 1 second, please. One more time. This one. Yes. So the Blackboard site here, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to go to the discussion board area, which you can see on the side here, discussion boards. And in the discussion board area, you actually have a task due today. That task is to tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit why, basically give us your story. You'll learn shortly that my business is called Branded Stories, which is an event marketing and social media marketing firm. Also that why are you taking this program? You're in COVID and you've decided to go back to school, obviously, but I want you to kind of explain what you're doing in this area. So you need to open it up. When you open it up, you just click on it. I'm going to look at the view that you see. That's this view here. So basically, you open it up, and you're going to create a thread. That thread is going to be each one of you have to create your own thread, and you're going to start to tell us a little bit about yourself. So tell us your story, why you're taking this program, and then a little, anything kind of unique or different about yourself. You can also say where you're from and if you're here or somewhere else taking this class. Excuse me. So I also like you to make sure during this week that you also comment on two of your classmates. So you kind of, we start to share and get to know each other. So I'm going to give you 10 minutes. Is there any questions up front? You'll have to turn your mic on if you have any questions, and that's located at the bottom of the screen. You'll see a little mute button. You can turn that on or off. Okay, so I'm going to give you 10 minutes. So what I want you to do again is go to the Blackboard site um, and start talking about yourself in terms of your career, your story, where you are, why you're taking this program, and anything else you want to tell us. Okay, so I'll give you 10 minutes to do that. So start creating, guys. While you do that, I'm gonna mute. But if you have questions, please speak up. I will come back on and answer your question from there. Thanks. If you've just joined us, we've done an introduction, and we'd like you to go to the Blackboard site for this course, which is BEMP 5006. I want you to go to the discussion board and answer the first discussion introduction area, where you're going to tell us your story, who you are, why you're taking this program, and then later on this week you can comment on two or more of your classroom's posts. And by the way, you get graded for this. You get 2 marks of your final grade. So I look forward to seeing your introductions, and we'll be back at you very shortly in about 5-10 minutes now.
Hi, sir. I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
It says that it is due on September 13th. I posted in the chat,
Yeah.
but do we have to post it today or?
You don't, but I'm giving you 10 minutes right now, and you get 2 marks. But it's up to you. If you want to wait, you got till next beginning of next class to really post something. I'm just trying to get
Yeah,
everybody going. You can start. You can also go back and revise it if you want to.
yeah, because, oh, is there an edit option?
Yes, there is. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
Sir, I'm sorry, can I talk?
Absolutely. Go ahead. Hi, Jenny. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
I'm just having troubles connecting to the Blackboard, even though I used it to log into this session.
Oh, maybe it's your Wi-Fi.
I'm not sure. It should be good. I just wanted to let you know that's why I'm not there yet.
Okay, no worries. Again, you
Thanks.
have till next week. I'm just getting everybody warmed up here so that,
Thank you.
yeah, no problem. But Jenny, you have till the 13th to post there anyway.
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, thanks.
Hi, Ronald. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
How are you? Good.
How do you say your name? So I don't.
You can just call me by. I know it's a long name and difficult. You can just call me by Ish.
Ish. Okay, nice to meet you, Ish.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm unable to connect it with the mic uh, because I don't know. I'm not sure because I'm not used to the Zoom because I use this Blackboard Ultra and Microsoft Teams. So I'm new to this Zoom. So what should I do?
Yeah, at the bottom you have the mic on already because I can hear you obviously, but there's also a video if you want to show yourself when you talk. Um, you can push if you have a camera on your device there.
Yeah, no. Actually, I want to hear you through my headset, not through the speaker of my laptop.
Okay.
I'm unable to connect the device. I'm not sure what's happening, what's going on with Zoom.
Oh, okay. Well, do you have your headphones on right now?
I have my AirPods.
And you can hear me fine?
No, now you're connected through the speaker, the Mac speaker. I'm unable to hear it through my headphone. I mean through my AirPods. When I
Okay.
try to connect in.
Yeah, you may have to go back into your settings and Bluetooth settings and divert the sound to your ear pods.
I tried connecting it with the Bluetooth on, and it is connecting, but I'm unable to hear you through the AirPods. I'm not sure what's happening with that.
Yeah, I'm not sure why that would be.
I might have an answer for that possibly.
Great, Emma.
Hi,
Thank you.
sorry to interrupt.
Okay.
I don't know if this is the answer, but there's on the bottom of the Zoom screen, if you're on a desktop, there's the microphone button. And if you select the sub menu of that microphone button, you can select a speaker. So your speaker, that is the way you can choose how you hear the audio.
Perfect. Got it. Thank you.
Thank you,
problem.
Emma.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Emma, I see you were the first to post in the discussion area. Thank you.
No problem. I panicked and wrote it last night, so.
I'll tell you a little something. Your last name's Mansell, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So my family, my mother's maiden name is Mansell.
Very
ironic.
Cool. I thought that was surprising that you said it the right way because most people say Mansell. So I thought maybe that was the reason why.
Yeah, my grandmother was a Mansell. So.
Is she from Ireland?
They were from Canada, but originally, yeah, from Ireland. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where mine are from as well. Very cool. I'll have to tell my parents.
Yeah, it's very cool. Are you from the Toronto area?
Not originally, no. I'm from in the boonies.
Okay. All right, everybody. So you can continue on and introduce yourself in the that area. Today's class, I'm going to spend most just kind of an introduction. So that introduction is going to have you not only hearing from me, because I'm going to tell you about the course and what's coming up, but also I'm going to tell you what kind of lies ahead, some key dates that are really important to you, and we're going to review the Blackboard site so that you get a sense of what's happening there. In addition, what you can expect. Again, this is a virtual class. It's called a synchronous virtual class, which means that you're not doing online learning asynchronously by yourself. Most of it will be done with me online here. The course can basically last from 1 hour to 3 hours. 3 hours is a long time for a virtual class, so I will be breaking it up. and giving you breaks. And also, a lot of times I'll be doing breakout sessions where you'll be conversing with each other about various topics. And we're going to be doing that today as well. So we're also going to be learning about the what, the how, the why of sponsorship and marketing, how it all works, and sales. The sales is a very important part of sponsorship. It's probably the key skill that is needed to generate revenue for an event or whatever. So this is me. I've been in the marketing, sponsorship, communications world for over 20 years. Held a lot of different positions. Actually, I started my career in sport marketing. And my role in sport marketing at the time was to market and get sponsorship for some pretty big events, which I'll talk about in a minute. You'll see what I've done. This kind of gives you I'm just going to kind of give you an overview why I'm qualified to be here to talk to you guys. Now, I also own a company. The company's called Branded. And if you want to check it out, it's at brandedstories.org. Branded is a brand strategy, digital activation, and events company. I have numerous clients in various different categories. But if you can check it out if you'd like. Also, I've recently, in COVID, innovated, and I've started a podcast. That podcast is on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and National Radio Public, and some other channels as well. But what it's called What's Your Story? And I interview senior leaders, marketers, event organizers, and have them tell their story, and also really give a good sense of what this COVID is all about and what the new normal is and how things are going to change. So if you want to check that out, here, I'll just open it up. We'll go to my website. Oh, it's not going to open. That's okay. I'll show it to you another way. 1 second. I'll stop sharing. One minute. I just want to share this with you. So, it's really slow today. Well, you guys can go there on your own. You can go to brandedstories.org and you can check out the blog. This is it here. Maybe you can see it. There's various blogs. The blog has podcasts, and you can, if you're interested, they're 20 to half an hour podcasts with really interesting guests. We talk. Some of them are very emotional. I posted this one on Anna Tavares. She's a strategist of a digital company called Vendasta. They're actually a partner company with my company, and she's a young up and coming marketer and strategist, and she did a great job of communicating about what this means for their company and everybody else's company, because it's been a very trying time for many people. And I also had a really great podcast with a guy named I'll show him here. Shane is here. Here he is with his son, Shane Skillen, and Shane talked about mental health and how he's been supporting his organization that he's the CEO of. In addition, he offered up something really great, which is offered up to any one of you today as well. That is free mental health support. So if you go to the podcast, you'll see you can listen to what you need to do to get that. You go to his website, and he will get you, free support if you need that kind of help. But it was an amazing talk. I also had a talk with an old client of mine. His name's Desmond Edwards, and Desmond was my client when I was at BBDO Advertising. He is now the VP of Marketing at Nando's Restaurants. And he talked a lot about how they had to close down a bunch of restaurants, what that meant to the employees. He also talked about It was the week after the George Floyd situation. So it was pretty emotional talk for Desmond. And you'll see when you go back on there. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you, and give you a sense of what I'm all about. Now, I've also worked for a number of different agencies in the past. I started off as in the ad world and event marketing world. I worked for BBDO, which is one of the largest ad agencies in the world. Sept, which is Canada's biggest advertising agency. I was a VP of client services there. I also ran Launch Brand Marketing. Launch is an experiential marketing company. I was the president and managing director. We put on events for some big clients like Microsoft. We did their annual conference. We did a lot of events for McDonald's, Ontario Tourism. And you can see all the different clients that I've worked on over the years while in the agency world. In addition, I've been head of marketing for a couple of companies you probably recognize on the screen. So I was the head of marketing for Tim Hortons for a number of years. I left that to go to Dairy Queen International, where I was VP marketing for North America. That included Orange Julius. I was responsible for all ends of the marketing, from the brand strategy to all creative development to the advertising development in New York with Gray Advertising. I was responsible for putting on events, the national conference, the Canadian conference, as well as the annual ad swing, where we would go across the country and have to put on a show for the franchisees. I've also been head of marketing. I launched the marketing and brand at Toronto Pearson International Airport. So if some of you come into Toronto, you'll see a lot of branding there and a lot of new offerings and retail offerings. Well, my group of amazing people that worked with me, they helped create a new brand which wasn't there before, because we had to build new terminals. We had to brand the airport. We had to put together and attract various airlines around the world, including Emirates, LAN Chile, Icelandair, Etihad, Air China. And every time we would bring in a new airline, it was a big amount of revenue for the airport. But at the same time, my staff and I had to put on a big event and launch that airline coming to Toronto. What that included was a lot of back-end organization. It included a shower, which was a shower of where the fire trucks would come out and spray the aircraft coming in. And we would continue that on with a fanfare in the airport. And then later on in the evening, we usually had a big event downtown Toronto. The one that I recall that was really amazing was, and they do this everywhere they go, and when Emirates comes to a new station, we call them stations in the airport world, they usually bring on an amazing party. And that party includes hiring a band that is famous in the country that they are going to. So we are at this event, and it was at the Carlu in downtown Toronto. And we were having dinner and speeches and boring fanfare. And then they said, oh, by the way, we have a guest here for you. And it was Brian Adams and his band. So it was really amazing. And they did this everywhere. So you can see I've been involved in a number of different things. I've also, when I left the corporate world about almost 10 years ago, I started my own business, and I became sought after to speak in the talk shows in the morning. So this wasn't a picture of me on Canada. Actually, this one was Sun News. I was on Canada AM. I was on a number of different places where they would ask me about social media and how it's changing for business and different things like that. So you'll see in this course that in sponsorship, social media is playing a huge part in delivering value back to clients when you get a client to sponsor an event. I've also done a lot of ads. So I've probably done a number of commercials that some of you may have recognized. So this was the There's No Place Like This campaign when I was head of marketing for Ontario Tourism. And do you guys want me to play it?
Sure, yeah.
Sure.
Okay, there we go. Thank you. I was waiting for that. Okay, here we go. So this is just one ad. Actually, this was a series of ads we did with 9 commercials. We did an experiential marketing event where we went across the province of Ontario, and we did auditions for people to play this song. We picked 9 bands, and then we made commercials, which we launched at the Olympic Games in 2010. So in Van Hock with Vancouver Olympics, we were a sponsor of the Olympic Games, we were a sponsor of the broadcast, and we launched the broadcast with this commercial. There were 9 other spots as well, but I'll just share this one with you.
You're my place to know. Yeah, you're my place to grow.
You're my place to shine.
And feel inspired. Because
You're my place to be who I was meant to be.
there's nothing in this world that's not like you. Come on! Yeah. Oh, there's no place like this where I've been.
There's no dream like this that I've seen. There's no place like this to be free.
Oh, there's no place like this. Anyone can see it. There's no place like this for me.
Okay, so everybody, that's one of the ads that I had done. As I mentioned, I've done many spots, and over the course of the next 14 weeks, you'll see a couple of them, because a lot of them were integrated into experiential marketing forms of activations. And what's really important to know that sponsorship plays a big part in activating some of these programs that are out there. And we're going to talk about that extensively in this course. So I'm going to go back to kind of talking about what you guys are going to learn in this course. But just one second, just got to put back on this. So some other things I've done at Tim Hortons. I ran all the Timbits sports programs and sponsored. We had to get sponsors, so I had a large team of about 50 people. We did all the Timbits sports. That's Timbits hockey and Timbits soccer. For those that aren't from Canada, if you are a 7 to 9-year-old kid, or if you have kids, a lot of them will have been through a Timbits sports program. And Tim Hortons was the sponsor of that. And I think they still do a lot of that. I'm no longer involved. We also did community care programs, and I ran the marketing for the Tim Horton Children's Foundation, which is a foundation for children that are economically disadvantaged in Canada. And basically what it does is it funds a lot of camps. So in Canada, there are a lot of, and in the United States, there are 9 different sports camps and activity camps where kids go away to in the summer. And these camps were built because the original founder of Tim Hortons was economically disadvantaged growing up, and he felt that he was never able to afford to go to camp. His parents couldn't send him in the summer, so he wanted to make sure he gave that opportunity to all kids and so every year Tim Hortons has a day. Does anybody know what that day is?
Camp Day.
That's right, Lauren. Yeah, so Camp Day. And what does Camp Day do, Lauren?
I believe it's proceeds from coffee sales and bracelet sales, and 100% of the proceeds go to support sending kids to camp.
That's right. Yes. So it goes, all the funds actually very close go to the Tim Horton Children's Foundation. That foundation determines how they're going to distribute the funds, but it all goes back to sending kids to camp. And basically how it works is each franchisee can nominate a child in their community to go to camp. And so what happens is you have a lot of kids going to camp, and it's a really great initiative. But my team ran the Camp Day. So they ran all the activities, which was a huge event at every store across the country, including getting media there, ensuring that the event was organized with the franchisee. We did a lot of kind of cross promotions with radio stations and television stations to get PR support for Camp Day. And the goal was to really leverage it. And so we also leveraged it with our media buys that we did with, because Tim Hortons, they have a huge marketing budget and a lot of television ads. And what we did was we would leverage that support and go to all the national networks and say, okay, we've been buying a lot of media from you. We'd like you to give a free support, free ads, free ad time to support this great day. So that's what we did. So it ended up allowing everyone to kind of work together in the spirit of giving and kind of unconditional love. And it allowed us to really generate funds for all these kids that needed to go to camp. So I also at Tim Hortons, I ran the sponsorship. We sponsored the national cycling team, the Canadian Hockey League. We also sponsored all the NHL teams and across Canada and the Canadian Olympic team as well. I also, in Ontario, we did Jeux de Canada Games, which is a kind of like the stepping stone to going to the Olympic Games here in Canada. We were the big sponsor of the Jeux de Canada Games, and it happened at the time in London, Ontario, and my whole team executed the big event that we were part of. And it was a really interesting sponsorship. It was $1 million sponsorship we got for free. And you're wondering how we got that for free? Well, we leveraged all our stores by saying that we were going to promote the Jeux de Canada Games on all the cups, on all the stores with posters and placemats. In addition, we did a small commercial where we tagged the commercial with Jeux de Canada Games, and all that added up had a value proposition of about $3 million of media support. That media support we used to leverage getting free sponsorship. And we use that in a really effective way. And we'll talk about a little bit about that throughout this course, how you can use other assets you have or marketing assets to get free sponsorship, which is a really effective tool and one that can really only be done when you're with a big company, but I can give you a sense of how that all works. Also launched Palladium in Canada, which is an interactive play zone. That's kind of gone away because of game stations and Xbox and that at home. And when we were there, we were the main sponsor for the World Snowboarding Championships, which happened in Whistler. When I was at Sept, I was responsible for the McDonald's business, but I was also responsible for all the sport marketing initiatives, the sport sponsorship strategy for various clients. And our biggest client was Bell. And we did the Bell Canadian Open, which is the golf open. We launched the Air Canada Centre, which is no longer the Air Canada Centre. It's called Scotia Centre, Scotia Arena, I should say. And we did the sponsorship for the Olympics. So Bell was a huge sponsor of the Olympic Games, a COA sponsor, Canadian Olympic Association sponsor. And we helped them really leverage their sponsorship, make it more effective for them. And it was a big initiative that we did, and Bell was a huge client. We also ran the program, which is McHappy Day for McDonald's. That was my client. And national branding. We did some work with Wayne Gretzky, who's a famous Canadian hockey player. I did a bunch of spots with him and Matt Sundin. And now we're all just a very integrated way of doing marketing, but also our clients were really into leveraging their sponsorships with their advertising initiatives. I've worked training with some other programs, the Dinos in Calgary, which is the University of Calgary sponsorship sales development training for them, and the Stampeders, which is the Canadian Football League team there. My first real job in sponsorship, second job, I should say, was to launch the Calgary 88s as the director of marketing, where we organized, and then that was part of the World Basketball League, which was the feeder league to the NBA at the time. This is going back in time. We had everything from, just like you see today in the NBA, we had a slam duck, we called it, which would entertain the crowd and dunk the basketball. We had a dance team called LA North, which was led by Tracy Shotanis, the world aerobics champion. And we had to arrange 27 game day sponsorships that would help fund the initiative for basketball in Calgary, which happened in the summer. This was a feeder league for the NBA, and it was really interesting. My first kind of foray in sponsorship, however, was with my alma mater at the University of Toronto. So I was the marketing and promotions manager. It was my first job at a university where I was responsible for getting sponsorship for all the sports teams and varsity teams and events that we put on at the University of Toronto that included the national football event that happened every year called the Vanier Cup, where we actually moved it from Varsity Stadium at the time to Rogers Center, which we used to be called the Sky Dome. We also did the national sponsorship for the basketball and also the hockey program. So you can see I have a little bit of experience. I try to, give a well-rounded explanation for you. I really wish we were live in person because it's a little more intimate and I get to know you better. So I'm trying to get to know you through this medium, but I'll do my best. So what can you expect from Ron? Again, it's Ron Coughlin. That's my name. Is creativity. I'm going to try and bring that to bear in terms of who we bring to the classes. You're going to see we're going to have guest speakers. In a couple of weeks, we're going to have the LinkedIn guy to help you with your LinkedIn profile and give you some suggestions about personal branding so you can get a job really and focus your LinkedIn profile in a way that is really effective. I'm committed to your career and your success. So what I like to do, I offer this up to everybody, and that is I'm here to help you get a job. And hopefully it's in the sponsorship and marketing and social media area. But if it's not, I'm here to help you anyway. So what you need to do to do that is reach out to me if I know you. So I can only recommend you when I know you. So you have to kind of speak up and allow me to get to know you. And another thing you can do, and I offer this to every student, is you can link into me. So you can go to LinkedIn and you can link into me. You can look at I have 6,000 connections. A lot of them are in, you can go through them all. I open them up for everybody. And if I know you, I will recommend you to meet somebody there. A little story for you. One of my students in another sponsorship class really had a passion to work for the World Wrestling Federation. And so she kind of reached out to me and saw that I knew the managing director here in Canada. So what I did was I did an introduction. She got together with him for a coffee, and sure enough, guess where she works now? She works for them. And she did a great job of branding herself and getting noticed. So all I'm saying to you is I can't promise you any one of you a job. All I can do is promise you an opportunity if you get to know me, and I can recommend you where appropriate. So I'm committed to helping you do that. I'm committed for learning support. So what I would ask of you, if you're not understanding something, come to me first. Say, Ron, like you can do it in class, or if you don't feel comfortable speaking up, please email me at ron.coughlin, that's CAUGHLIN. I'll put it on the screen shortly, at humber.ca, and we'll arrange a virtual session to kind of talk things over if you're confused by anything. Okay? And that learning support is there. I'll also be having from time to time fireside chats just to open it up if people want to talk and have questions about the program. In addition, I'm here for personal growth, and I'm going to bring a lot of my own industry experience. So I tell lots of stories, and that's, I feel, a great way to learn. A lot of my students like the stories, but what I try to do as well is I bring in industry experts, as I mentioned. So we'll be having guest speakers throughout the term, and I'll let you know ahead of time when that's happening. We'll bring them in through Zoom, and normally I'd bring them into the class, but right now we're not able to do that. In addition, we bring in industry for the end of your term big assignment where you're going to be competing against one another, creating a sponsorship program for a big client. I'll tell you about that later on because it's not, I'm not releasing that till the second term. of this program, but you're going to have an opportunity to work together online and then also present online, which I'll kind of explain a little bit later on. So what do I expect from you? Well, I expect you to show up for this Zoom session if you can. Now, if you can't because of where you live, like if you live in Asia, and you can review the recording. But if you live here in North America, or especially in the Ontario area, please try to attend this session. You're going to get a lot more out of it taking it live, working with your teammates and breakout sessions and different things like that. In addition, committed to doing the work, doing any module work, doing the assignments, doing the readings that we have, which I'll share with you in a minute. I want you to challenge yourself and really try to step outside of your box if you feel comfortable. So stretch your comfort zone levels and become a really great speaker and and presenter. Now, presenting's not everybody's strong point, right? And but what's really critical today is learning how to present, and also to present using new mediums like the one that I'm on. I'm still trying to master it, but I think you'll find that the better you get at presenting, the more effective you're going to be in your career. So I try to give you that opportunity at various times, and the more you practice, the better you get. And I'm going to give you some tips on how to be a better presenter, because that's critical in sales and it's critical in selling sponsorship and your career. So you're going to do the work, and I want you to ask lots of questions. I know it's hard. There's I think there's over 50 people in this class, which they're not. I think there's actually right now 46 people online. I know it's hard to ask questions, but I really like it because it makes more of an interactive class and makes things go much quicker. So normally I'm not going to be doing all the talking, but today's class I'm going to be doing lots of talking, and we're going to do 2 breakout sessions after the break today. So this is my contact information. So normally I am in the office in B104 or H211 in the Lakeshore campus. And you would need to send an email to set up a meeting, but because of COVID, there's no live meetings. We're going to do it virtually. So to get a meeting with me, you just email me, ron.coughlin@humber.ca. We can set up a virtual meeting and a virtual appointment. We'll probably set it up through Zoom or Google Meet. And you can ask questions and make sure that you're understanding what you need and getting your questions answered or whatever you want to chat about. So again, this is my contact information. It's also on Blackboard. I posted it there so you can find out. And just understand that if you're going to send me a message, don't do it through Blackboard, because it doesn't tell me that you've sent a message, and then I may miss it. I don't want to miss any of your emails. So the best place, 100%, is to do this by just sending me an email, which you have that email right there. Now, there are 2 required textbooks. These are the 2 textbooks. They're Selling Today, which we're going to use extensively for the first half of the course. It's the 7th edition of Selling Today, Partnering to Create Value by Manning, Ahern, Reese, and McKenzie. In addition, the second half of the course we'll be focusing on the Sponsorship Handbook, which is also required text for this course. You can get them in the bookstore at Humber College. You can also get them online and have them delivered. There's also virtual copies of this. So if you want to go to Google Play, you can purchase a book, which is a PDF form, if you'd rather not have it delivered and have a hard copy of the book. A little tip, which we do in my master's program. I'm actually taking my master's right now at Central Michigan University. We share books by sharing, getting to know one another, but also we do it by sharing a link to a PDF. So someone purchases the book and people share the cost of that book. So that's a little tip if you want to do it that way. If you want to own it yourself, some of these books, especially the Sponsorship Handbook, that book is a tremendous resource for you and your career. So it's actually worth getting on your own. But that's a little tip for you. I know the bookstore wouldn't appreciate that, but I know you all are, paying a lot for this course in college. So it's usually better to try and save some funds somehow. So these are required. There are readings every week, and you have to keep up with the readings because they are part of the program, and we have discussions about the readings every week. Plus, you're tested on the readings in this program. So, Blackboard. Blackboard is the tool of choice. Blackboard, you'll see on it. You can open it up if you want. I'm going to share Blackboard actually right now. While I do this, I have to stop sharing and then 1 minute. I'm just going to open up Blackboard for you. Here we go. Did everybody see the Blackboard site here?
Yes.
Okay, great. So you'll notice this is made up of announcements. This is where all the announcements are going to be. The home page itself, if you haven't used it before, it's a great tool. I'm just going to go to the home page first. These are all my courses. Anyway, so basically, it looks like this. You'll know when there's an announcement because it puts it in. This is the home page. In addition, if there's anything due, it says something's past due. I don't think there is. I'll have to check that one. I think there's something I'm going to have to change in here. So don't just ignore that because I think I didn't change 2 dates and it's showing up as past due. So I'll fix that today after the class. In addition, there's announcements. You'll see a really important area to start is in the Getting Start area. So there's a welcome letter from me. Your course outline is here. Any Humber policies, rules for online behavior, et cetera, kind of all something you should read just ahead of time to get kind of orientated for this course if you haven't done so already. Another important tab here is the critical path. This critical path will give you, and I'll share it right now, will give you a sense of what's coming up. Here we go. It looks like this. And you'll see it talks about what we're doing every week, gives you a sense of, like this week is a live session and it's recorded. I believe next week is a live session and recorded. It tells you the readings. So in the sales book, you're to read chapters 1 and 2 this week, going into next week. Our first part of our course deals with sales and sponsorship. We're going to have some guest speakers that show up, like our guy from LinkedIn on September 29th. In addition, tells you when the reading week is, tells you when you have presentations for assignments. For example, your first presentation is a group presentation, which I'm going to form groups for you. And you're going to have to learn to work together to create a live Zoom recorded presentation. In addition, we have online tests, which is our first test is November 3rd. We have, then we go after that test and the midterm, we get into sponsorship. In addition, we'll have live speakers. We launch the big assignment we're going to have. We have coaching sessions for that assignment with each group. Then we have the presentations for that event, and that big assignment that we're having. And we have a final test the last week of school, which, if you can believe, is in December 15th. So this is kind of how you're going to be evaluated, which I'll go back to the, 1 second. I'm going to go back to the slides. So you're evaluated. Right here. So basically, you have a little tiny assessment that you're going to do on your own personality from a sales perspective. It's a sales personality profile. I'll be launching it, I think not next class, the class after the 3rd week. Then between the third and it's either between the second and the third week, but you'll see it's coming up quickly. It's not a hard thing to do. You just have to download a Excel spreadsheet, answer a questionnaire, and it will self-score the type of personality you have, which is really important in sales. So you know what your personality traits are, so you can adapt yourself and be flexible to your buyer. In addition, you have to do a small report related to the LinkedIn speaker, the LinkedIn guy, which is due on October 6th. We have a first assignment, which is a group sales assignment worth 15% of your time total mark. I'll be putting you into groups, and you're going to be pitching me on a sponsorship. It's a 5-minute to 10-minute presentation. And basically, we're going to be doing it live on Zoom with your teammates. You're going to have to practice on Zoom presenting. And then I mark it, and you'll get marks very quickly thereafter. Your first test is November 3rd. It's an online test. Then we have another speaker. I believe it's going to be a speaker from TIFF, the sponsorship head of TIFF, which is Toronto International Film Festival. We have another speaker recap report that you're going to do. In addition, there's the second assignment, which is your biggest assignment, which is a sponsorship plan and pitch for a big organization, and I'll talk to you about that later. Your final test, and then you get 10% for something I need you to do on an ongoing basis. So basically what I need you to do is every class, I need you to start doing something. What you're going to do is using this hashtag, which is hashtag BEMP 5006, you're going to make a post in LinkedIn. Basically, what you're going to do is you're going to hook up your LinkedIn account to a Twitter account as well. So when you make a post, you're going to make a post every class the week prior to the next class. You can do it during class if you like to. So for example, this week, you'll make a class about the start of class, maybe a little bit about something we are talking about later on today. And you're going to write something about that. Use the hashtag 5006. And then you're going to also put a link to an article that relates to that, or a questionnaire or a research project. Why you're doing this, you're asking? Because what's really important is that you get yourself out there and you get yourself noticed when someone Googles your name. So I ask you, when you Google your name, what comes up? And sometimes you don't come up on the first page, and you want to come up on the first page. Like for example, if you Google my name, which is Ron Coughlin, Caughlin, you'll see I come up first. There's not other people coming up. And so if people want to know about me, they Google my name, they can find me really easily. Now, some of you may have names very similar to other people's names. So what I would suggest you do is add a descriptor somehow to your LinkedIn profile and your Twitter your handle. And I would suggest that you add, I had another professor of mine, friend of mine, and she added her middle name just to stick out, because her name was a famous name. It was an actor's name. So she needed to be able to stick out. So she would put her middle name in there so when people Googled her name, that she could be found. So this is important because you get marks for it. So again, this is these are the marks. It adds up to 100%. I'll be reminding you throughout on Blackboard on how it all works. Is there any questions before we go to our first break of the day?
Hi, sir. I have a question. Sorry.
Sure, go ahead.
No,
Emma.
go ahead.
Okay, thank you. The group sales presentation on October 27th, the third row. October 27th is reading week. So
Oh, good point. Okay, so I will look at that. Thanks, Emma. It's going to be the week after that, okay?
okay, and what does the October 10th mean?
I don't know. I've made a mistake. I'm very sorry.
Okay,
But
that's okay.
what I'll do is I'll adjust this and make sure it reflects the right week. I believe it's the week after reading week. Okay.
Okay, and I have a second question.
Sure.
On the sponsorship assignment 2, it says due by WO December 7th. What does W/O mean?
Week of.
Week of. Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Any other questions?
Yes. Could you just repeat for the LinkedIn account and Twitter post?
Yeah.
What kind of links did you want us to put? It was research projects and what else?
Sorry, let's say we're talking, I'll give you an example, okay? So let's say we're talking about sponsorship activation, right? And then and specifically experiential marketing. What you would do is you would find something related to that online, maybe an article, maybe a video, and you would post a link to that article or video. And then you would write kind of what it is it's talking about with the hashtag BEMP 5006.
Okay, great. So just things that are related to what we studied in class that week.
That's right, yeah.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
I have a question.
Sure.
What if we're not that active on LinkedIn and Twitter?
I'm sorry, I couldn't understand that. Could you say that again, please?
Yes. What if we're not that active on LinkedIn and Twitter?
If you're not active, well, I would suggest you get active on LinkedIn. This because it's a great tool for you to get a job afterwards and network.
Okay.
Okay, so you don't have to do it on Twitter, but you do need to do it on LinkedIn. Twitter is just an add-on. Twitter, for example, when I make a post on LinkedIn, I've connected my posts. It gives you an option to make a post just on LinkedIn or to LinkedIn and Twitter, your Twitter account. And what I do is I do both, and that raises my organic searchability when people are looking for me and for my business. It also will help you when you're getting a job afterwards.
Okay, so can we start from next Monday? So I will be doing this week, like train myself a little bit this week about it.
Well, what I would suggest you do is create a LinkedIn account.
Okay.
Make one simple post this week because it's one per week. Now, there is a
okay.
Okay. Now, this is the deal as well, everybody. So I want you to hear up. Let's say, is your name Nura?
Mura.
Okay, thank you. So what if you forgot to post? Well, you would email me and say, oh my goodness, Ron, I forgot to post. And I would say, no problem, make 2 posts this week.
Okay.
Now, if that happens again, then I'll say, I'm sorry, but I'll give everybody one break, okay? In addition, at the end of term, you're going to need to take a snapshot of every single post, put it on a Word file, and upload it into Blackboard, and you'll get 10%. Now, if you have 14 posts, because they're 14 weeks, you get 100%. You get 10%. I'm losing my voice here, but if you have if you have less than that, I take a factor off, and you don't get a full 10%.
I know. I'll try my best. I will do my best. Thank you.
Very good. Any other questions?
I have another question. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, you can go ahead first.
Okay, thank you. Do we use our personal LinkedIn and Twitter accounts, or can we make a new one, or what do you suggest?
Well, if your LinkedIn account is one that you're using to get a job already, if it's professional, I would suggest you use that one. Your Twitter account, if it's one that is private and personal, then I would suggest you create a professional one.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Hi, Ron. I wanted to know that our week 1 starts from today. So what do we really need to post for this week? Is it more about knowing each other, because that's what we actually did today? A bit confused about this.
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, I'm about to have a break, and then after the break, I'm going to do a short class. And you'll see I'm doing sponsorship definitions.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Hi, sir.
Hi. Who's speaking?
Hi. This is Khadija.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Good. I just have a question. I just wanted to know if you could just quickly go over one more time about the sponsorship assignment too. The one that's due on the week of December 7th.
Yeah, so that assignment, I'm going to be bringing in an outside company. I don't have the company yet because I'm just confirming it with them.
Okay.
And basically, they're going to present an opportunity to you that it's basically, they're going to say, okay, we are looking for someone to, the best company. So you're going to form a mini company with four to six of your classmates. Okay. You're going to strategize together, come up with ideas, and then you're going to create a sponsorship proposal and pitch, right? So that sponsorship proposal and pitch, you're going to do live on Zoom, which I'm going to record. I've done this in other classes. It works really well as long as you learn how to use Zoom, which you have a whole term to do that, as long as you practiced on Zoom presenting. And then what I do is I record it all, and then myself with the judges, which are, it's just like a capstone project. I get together with the sponsor, potential sponsor,
Okay.
and we pick a winner, and we have prizing and things for the best pitch and idea and presentation that's out there.
Ooh, is it monetary prizes?
No, I'm sorry. I wish. If I win the lottery, then yeah, I'll get that for you. So.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a quick question.
Sure.
For the first discussion post, you mentioned verbally to introduce ourselves and comment on 2 other posts.
Yeah.
On Blackboard, it also says to explain how the digital world has shifted during COVID.
That's right.
You didn't mention that verbally, so you want us to include that in our introduction post as well?
Yeah, it's Emily, right?
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing that up. Yes. So I want you to introduce yourself, tell us a little about yourself, but then obviously things have changed, right? So I want you to put maybe think how you think things have changed. And there's a lot of people talking about this online, especially in the event world. So there's no events right now. I have a client right now. Their main way of selling their product, which is Tracy's wine jellies. You have it with hors d'oeuvres and cheese and wine and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, the wine jelly, they usually go to festivals, big conferences and events like the One of a Kind show in Toronto, the CNE, which didn't happen this summer. And so what's happened is a lot of these events have changed the way they operate. And that's what I want you to research a little bit about and maybe give a little perspective on that. Does that sound good?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Emily. Appreciate that.
I
All right, any other questions?
Yes, I have a. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I just posted a quick introduction of myself, and I just want to know if I can edit that to include the shift in the online platform later for digital.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody has the ability to edit their post. Yes.
I just put a small summary here.
Yeah, you can go back in and edit it and add that portion. I apologize for not mentioning that part of it, but you've got all week, so you can maybe do a little research throughout the week.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, hi, Professor. My name is Tamisha.
Hi, Tamisha.
Hi. I have a quick question about the LinkedIn posts and the tweet. Okay, so if I don't have a tweet account, can I just use the LinkedIn only to do the post?
Yes, you can. You can just use the LinkedIn only. That's what I want you to take a snapshot of and put it, at the end of the term. So you don't have to have a Twitter account. The reason I'm asking you though is because it will help you with your organic searchability. Okay, meaning on Google.
Okay.
It helps you with Google. Really looks at your social media, and if you are active out there, and if you are doing a good job of being a thought leader, and when they see that, they rank you higher than other people.
Okay, noted. Thank you, Professor.
Okay. All right.
Hi, Ron.
Hi.
Sorry, I
That's
just
okay.
have one quick question. So,
Sure.
regarding this post, is this supposed to be in the private or public or the different visibility modes are there, right? So, which mode is preferable?
It's preferable to be public. You want people to see it.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, thank you.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna have a little break. Don't go away though. So we're gonna give you 10 minutes. So the time right now, I believe, just 1 minute in Toronto anyway, is 9:06. So at 9:16, I'll come back on, and we're going to learn a little bit about sponsorship. The reason is, and sales, we all have to talk the same language in this course. So I'm going to say some words, and I want to make sure you understand when I'm talking that language in sponsorship, that you understand what I'm talking about. Okay, so we're going to get into that. We're going to do a couple breakout sessions, and you can get to know each other a little bit through those breakout sessions. And then we'll go on from there. So I'm going to do a little break again. We'll be back at about 9. It looks like it's 9:07 now, so we'll be back at 9:17. Okay, everybody. So I'll just have this slide up for now, and I'll be back in approximately 10 minutes. Thanks, everyone. Well, welcome back, everybody. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go through um, probably about half an hour of sponsorship definitions. So this is usually pretty dry. I apologize, but the idea is I want to get you actually responding to this. So I'm going to ask questions, and you're going to have to speak up, not put it in
Hi,
chat.
Ron.
Yes.
I'm unable to hear you. I think you're on mute.
1 second. Thank you. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we could hear you before as well, so it might be
Yeah.
on the other person's end.
Okay. Thank you very much. Though I have a microphone here. I'll just get closer to it. So so basically, let's start off here. We're going to learn about some sponsorship and some definitions. So sponsorship is a interesting world. There's a sponsorship in events like NASCAR, obviously golf, various conferences or conventions, or even more events like equestrian events. It's a big part of how events operate. They use, and you guys kind of spoke up a little bit in the beginning in the chat area, which was awesome, where we talked about events and sponsorship. It's a way to help fund those events. And a lot of sponsors look to sponsor events that relate to their target audience. So the most important thing is, for example, if I'm going to be sponsoring WrestleMania, obviously I'm going to be sponsoring, be a sponsor that will be marketing to the audience that watches. It's pretty obvious. WrestleMania. The same with golf. If I'm going to be sponsoring the Canadian Open golf event or a PGA event, I'm going to be sponsoring it because my company wants to market and interact and relate to that target audience that is participating in that event. Like, for example, if you look at this slide, you can see here, this is an event. This is a surfing event. And so who would be the target audience at a surfing event?
Surfers?
Could be surfers. What
Everybody that appreciates water sports, I guess.
Yeah. What would be their demographic makeup?
Coastal areas, coastal cities.
A lot of younger people who like extreme sports, who like sunshine and bikinis.
Athletic people.
Athletic people, yeah. So a lot of the things you guys are describing are not demographic, but rather behavioral traits, which are really important. So sponsors look for, like brands, I should say, look for events that can really speak to a lot of those behavioral traits. So if it's an attitude, right, someone who has a active attitude, then and that are interested in sports that are sort of extreme, well, then they might attach themselves to that event. And a good example of that is Nike. Nike does a really good job of attaching themselves to various events, and especially the NBA as an example. And another really interesting sponsor that always does a lot of work in attaching themselves to different events is Red Bull. So Red Bull is all about giving you wings. And they always attach themselves to extreme sports, and that kind of fits their brand. And so it's important to really, where you start in sponsorship is the target audience and looking at those traits, those things that you guys kind of described. Has anybody here ever been to an event and seen a sponsor that didn't fit that event? Meaning you wondered why they were there. I guess not, but that's okay. I'll give you an example of that. If you were at an event like TIFF, okay, which is the Toronto International Film Festival, is a very upper high income, professional There's various age groups that go to TIFF. Do you think the beer Budweiser fits that event?
No, definitely not.
No, it doesn't, right? So a Budweiser fits more of a like an event like a NASCAR event. So what's important is that you align your brands if you're on the client side with an event that fits your brand and makes sense, okay? There are also a number of skills that are out there. And so when you're thinking about sponsorship and sponsorship sales. So what I'd like you to do is I'm going to create some breakout rooms. And I'm going to give you 10 minutes to discuss with your group in those breakout rooms. So I'm going to do it in a minute, so just be prepared for it. You're going to be assigned with people you don't know, obviously. And what I want you to do is I want you to talk about the skills required to work in event sponsorship today. And then when you come back on, one member of your group, and you can decide who that is, will talk about the things that you guys came up with to the class here. Okay, are there any questions before I do this? Great. Okay, so I'm just give me a minute. I'm going to assign these breakout rooms. Here we go. There's 49 of you, so okay. 10 breakout rooms. Okay, here we go. I'm going to open all the rooms. Okay, so I'm going to give you 10 minutes to talk, and then I'll be coming back, and I'll be also maybe coming into one of your rooms here and there as you're chatting. Here we go. All right, welcome back, everybody. You have a good discussion, I think. I visited a few rooms. All right, which group would like to go first? Don't be shy.
I can go first.
Okay, who's
Group
speaking?
3.
Lauren?
Lauren, hi.
Hi, Lauren. How are you? Thanks for.
I'm good. Thank you. Okay, so our group discussed a couple of different scenarios. So we looked at whether you're asking these for sponsorships in person or through email. So when you're asking in person, we thought you would need a good opener and a good pitch. You'd have to be outgoing and confident and really passionate about your cause and what you're speaking about. And we also thought you'd have to be creative, and that also ties into if you're asking through email. So your emails would have to be well written, and you would have to have really good communication skills. And the creativity would come with any POS materials or things like that to incorporate with those written pitches. We thought that you would have to be inspiring and have a good story to pitch as well. And it would be really important to do your homework and your research and be prepared about who you're speaking to and have the flexibility to change tactics based on which company that you're pitching to.
Very good. So I really like what you said about being creative and having good communication skills. That's critical in today's world to get noticed. And so that's a great point. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for being brave to be the first to speak.
Someone had to.
Yeah. Who's next? Who'd like to go next?
I can go next.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Ashley.
Hi, Ashley.
Nice to meet you.
Yourself?
Pardon me? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Can you show yourself so we can all see?
Oh, yeah, sorry. See if my camera's working. There we go. Good morning.
Hi, Ashley. How you doing?
How are you?
Good, thank you.
Great. So our group, while we were talking about sponsorship, we kind of came up with a few words that kind of like what sponsorship meant to us. Okay. So we started with confidence, being innovative, a creative, and fast thinker, all along with being flexible and good at negotiating. And then again, great communication and importantly, being effective, like kind of understanding what you want to portray and being able to give the customer or the vendor that kind of experience as well. We also want, like, we believe that sponsorship means you are good at making connections, you're passionate, you're adaptable, and you're the person that is doing the negotiation is aware of like the current trends in the event industry, and being on social media and strong with like presence and kind of going in there with a cause, like kind of wanting to make a change.
Sure. When you mention social media, how do you mean?
We mean that like when you are doing sponsorship, like kind of being aware on who your audience is and using the different portals such as social media. Like I think Instagram is such a great tool. I know a lot of people are on Reddit. You mentioned Twitter. All those things kind of tie into one, depending on who you're trying to target. Especially a lot of people my age, like in our 20s, are on like Instagram 24/7, especially through COVID. If you have been on Instagram, you've noticed a lot of people starting up new companies.
Yes.
And yeah, like the amount of growth that's been on there. I know my mom and I actually started a stuffed cookie company, and the growth just in like 4 months has been incredible. So I can only imagine like when you are strong on social media, the sponsorship opportunities are endless.
Yeah, you're very true. Actually, I have a daughter. She is a social media influencer. So she's also on a couple of shows. So HGTV,
Cool.
Backyard Design, what's it called? Backyard Design, and also Homes to Win.
Mm-hmm.
But she and one of her partners, they use social media to garner more revenue for themselves and get sponsorship from that. So
Yeah, for sure. So it's huge.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
that. All right, next. Who wants to be next? That's 2 groups. We have 10 groups, so we've had 2 out of 10 speak already. So
I'll go. So my group, I mean, I guess we got like a few of the other things that other groups have said, but I'll go over the ones that weren't mentioned yet. So
Okay.
our group kind of interpreted your question as what are the skills needed for a good sponsor, a good sponsorship, to obtain a good sponsorship. And few that we got, we discussed about having interpersonal skills, being flexible with people. And so being flexible comes with being open-minded, being communicative and cooperative, because we feel like that's important in terms of working with people. You have to be open-minded to everybody's inputs and thoughts instead of just focusing on your own stuff. We also said being able, like stated before, being able to do research, especially in the technological world, knowing which platforms to work with, having a digital awareness and being versatile in social media. What's also important is working with brands that don't have a controversial past, because that could backfire in a way. Being spontaneous, a good observer, creative, sharing common goals, as well as and being diligent and a team player. And most importantly, having people skills. I think that's the biggest one that we all agreed upon, having people skills, being able, like I said, to be communicative with everyone, being a good observer and a good listener.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, you mentioned something. I think your first point was flexibility. And you'll learn in this course, being flexible with your own communication style is important because not everybody's the same, right? And
It's
so
true.
you have to be able to relax. We'll learn about this. Relax the person you're communicating to or selling to make sure that you gain trust.
Yes.
Right? Because if you are a caring, open person and you're dealing with someone who's a very directive and business oriented, sometimes it doesn't always work and you clash. So you have to learn to be flexible. So I thought that was a great point. I appreciate that. So thank you. Who's next?
We can go next.
Okay. Hi, what's your name?
I'm Radita.
Okay.
Okay, so we interpreted the question as basic skills that you should have in regards to sponsorships.
Okay.
So I just wanted to start off by saying my mom and me came up with an Instagram page as well over the summer.
Very good.
And it's from my mom's bakery. She loves to bake. She makes cakes often. So we garnered a lot of followers through that.
What's the bakery? Where is it and what's it called?
It's called Mom's Sugary Bakery.
Okay.
Yeah,
is
so
it in
we try to
Toronto or
post
where is it?
often. We put lots of hashtags. We tag as many cake bakery accounts as we can. And we haven't been posting that much recently, but when we were posting, almost overnight, we got 350 followers. So
nice.
Yeah, so that was really exciting. So yeah, it was important to have really unique posts and really creative posts. So that was one of the skills we wrote down. I have it written on
sure.
book. I'm just reading off here.
That's okay.
So yeah, so we wrote creativity and uniqueness. That way you stand out, and you know, sponsorships and like different brands will be able to see that. Having good content. We also wrote, it's kind of overlaps with other people's points, but we also wrote interpersonal and communication skills. It's important to be a people person so that they're understanding where you're coming from and you understand where they're coming from. We also wrote how to sell. So knowing how to sell yourself, knowing how to sell your brand. I also wrote research skills so that you have product knowledge and it shows them that you put in the time to get to know their brand. We also wrote personal branding, conflict resolution, negotiation, in case something comes up and you're able to resolve the problem in a professional way, I guess. And you have to be passionate, innovative, and yeah, that's what we have.
Excellent. Well, thank you for that, and thank you for sharing your story about your mom's and is it your bakery too? Just your mom's bakery?
It's my mom's bakery, but I manage the account.
Oh, very good.
She's a mom. She doesn't really know how to work Instagram.
I hear you. Yeah, so thank you very much. Yeah, you made a lot of great points, and I think those points you're going to find are going to be covered a lot through the next little while in our course. So thank you very much.
No problem.
Okay, so who's next?
I think I'm the last one. Or is there more?
I could go
There's
next.
more,
if
yeah.
you want.
There's more. Oh, there's more. Oh, I realized there's another bar.
Yeah.
First time in Zoom.
What's your name? Is it Kaylin?
Oh, Celine. Yes.
Kaylin, sorry, thank you for saying that. I didn't know.
That's okay. Some people think it's Celine, but Kaylin works too.
That's okay.
Okay, so our group kind of went more in depth with skills rather than just listing titles of skills.
Okay.
So one of them was like understanding your demographic and target audience, which goes into like based on where you live. Like one of the girls in her group like lived on the outskirts of Canada, so her target audience might be very different than someone who lives in, say, Toronto. So
Right.
you're kind of limited in options in that way.
Where does she live, by the way?
Oh, where did you say you lived again? Like Nova Scotia, I think, or
Oh,
PEI?
it was St. John's, Newfoundland.
Oh, I was not close.
Thank you for sharing. Very good.
Where is she? Oh, skills on like how to approach your audience, especially after COVID. Like now it might be more of an online and social media based rather than like meeting someone in person for coffee or attending in-person meetings. Creating relationships. So someone already mentioned it, like having that trust level with someone. Like you're more likely to have a sponsorship with a company if you already know that person, if you feel that you can trust them, they're accountable. There's also carrying out a level of professionalism as well, having good communication and understanding how to approach others because everyone is different. And then also product knowledge and how to like market your products. And some sponsorships also give you products instead of money for your event. So understanding how that works as well.
Very good. Thank you. You know, you mentioned about trust, right? And we'll talk about this in our class, but it's difficult to get trust in COVID, isn't it, on a virtual platform like this, right? So imagine trying to get sponsors during this time. It's difficult because one of the most important skills, and you've mentioned it, is being able to have a relationship with someone and get them to trust you and want to work with you. And people want to work with people they like, right? So that means having those skills. And it's even more difficult, as you outlined here, on COVID in a virtual world. So thank you very much for that. All right, who's next?
I can go next.
Okay.
That's all right. So I
what's your name?
discussed with my name's Vansh.
Okay.
One, the numeric number, and that's how you say my name, Vansh.
Okay, very good.
So I have the list here. I discussed with my groups, and to have good event sales during COVID, you need a great first impression. That's what's gonna take you through the edge. Everybody's pitching one another, and there are other companies. Everybody's looking for sponsors. So you need a great first impression that makes you stand out from the rest, first of all. Then you gotta find a problem that the company has, and you can tell them how you solve the problem. They should be problem solving skills. You should be great at communicating what you can do for the company and how's the relationship beneficial for them as well. Then you should be great at presenting what you can offer them. You should know how to multitask. You should have your company organized and the whole plan laid out, what kind of events you're gonna do for them, and how can you actually make an impact and have them market their brand nicely as well. Then you should be great at marketing. You should be doing there are lots of types of marketing you could do. So your marketing should be able to differentiate your brand from the others. And then you should be great at budgeting. It shouldn't cost the company a fortune to sponsor you. That's what I think.
Thank you very much. This is Munch, right?
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you very much. Yes, so you said some really great skills. You know, I think you're right. To focus around COVID, you have to make an impression. And I think you're absolutely right. And also the other challenge is a lot of the events have been canceled, which is another, right? So there are different types of events, like virtual events that are happening out there today.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. All right, we have a couple more groups. Who's next?
I can go next.
All right, hi.
Hi, guys. Okay, so we came up with
What's your name? Sorry, who's your name?
Felicia.
Hi, Felicia. Nice to meet you. And where are
Nice
you
to meet
from?
you.
Where are you?
I'm from Vaughan.
You're from Vaughan. Very
Yeah.
good. Awesome.
Okay, so we came up with basically 4 like skill sets, kind of personality traits, I guess.
Okay.
And then one more like kind of just something different that's not a personality, but something that you should have. So the first 4 skill sets are organizational and hands-on skills. Just being able to like manage time and resources, scheduling abilities, and manage your stress level, kind of like you guys were talking before. Just because like running events can definitely be very stressful. You have like a lot of things on your plate. You have to know how to like talk to people, you know, like organize what's going on, like make sure everything's going good. So we said that. And then we said also an outgoing and creative personality. So just being able to like take charge even, and like comfort selling the intangible, not just like tangible, like just selling your brand and stuff. Pitching ideas, building rapport, having like a personable personality, like you guys said. You also need to have strong speaking, writing, and conversational skills. That's very important. Just being able to like relay your messages and like talk to sponsors and be confident with your responses. And then also marketing skills, selling the brand and delegating it appropriately. And then the last thing we said is not a personality trait. It's more just like having connections, just being able to get the right people for the right events. Because once you have those connections, then you can actually make it come to life. So that's what
you know, I really like that last one. You know?
Yeah.
One of the things I'm asking you guys to do is get on LinkedIn and start using it to create your own personal brand, right? So that you can be marketed out there. And part of being on LinkedIn, it's a professional platform. So I could have had you do this on Instagram, but it's not necessarily as a business professional platform. So this way you start garner connections that can help you in your career going forward. And that's a really great way. So the LinkedIn guy we're going to be having on, he's going to talk to you and help you create a personal brand that is noticed. And we're going to be doing that the last week of September. So, but thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay, a couple more groups.
I can go next.
Okay, who's that?
This is Winnie. I'm Chinese. My name is Wei Yishen, and you can call me Winnie.
I can't hear you. Can anybody hear her?
Not really, no.
Can you show your face and we'll see you? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Oh, go ahead.
So, our group has came up with 4 skills. First is the social skill. It was mentioned before, as a person should have the conversational skills to do some networking. And second, we talk about a person should come on certain kind of technology skills so that they can arrange or perform some event online successfully. And third, we think a person should be empathy. He should have the ability to analyze his customers' needs and also identify what he can provide to his customers. And finally, we talk about professional, as mentioned by another group. It's very important to build a trustful relationship, and we think show some kind of professional can be helpful to build a reliable relationship.
Very good. Thank you very much. Where are you talking to us from? Are you here in Canada or are you somewhere else right now?
Yeah, I'm in Canada.
You're in Canada. Okay. We have a couple students who are not here. They're not able to come here. So, but thank you very much for that. I think, you know, you talk about professional skills, and you were talking a little bit about trust again, and we're going to get into that because that's one of the main components of this whole thing. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, who's next?
I can go
Good
next.
morning.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead. That's okay. Go ahead.
So yeah, a lot of great points being brought up. I have a lot of the same ones. Our group kind of went through the steps required to acquire a sponsorship. So we were starting out with a really strong idea, something that you're passionate about, something creative and innovative, which has already been brought up. and then having the communication skills to really sell that to a sponsor, and also really finding brands that match and a target audience that matches both the event that you're trying to get sponsored and like the audience that the sponsorship would want to target as well. And then our last point was just being able to multitask and being able to kind of handle everything that you have on your plate with grace and not being too stressed. So kind of a lot of the same points.
Is your name Nikki?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you, Nikki. Yeah, I mean, multitasking is a really important skill. I mean, it's something you have to work at, right? And there's a lot of tools out there. There's actually a lot of online tools and tools for your mobile devices to help you organize your time in your event, especially event planning. And I'm going to share some of that later on in the course. So thank you very much for that.
Thanks.
Nice to meet you, Nikki. All right, who else is next?
Good morning.
Morning.
Hello. Well, it's a gray morning, so it's not that of a great morning, but that's okay. I think I'm just gonna repeat most of the things that everyone else said. So the first thing for us is creativity. You have to be creative when you go for the sponsorship and when you do get the sponsorship as well. Communication is another skill. You have to communicate what your ideas are, and you have to listen to what the sponsor wants to as well and try to find that middle ground. And then we said marketing skills, analytical skills, because you have to look for things, you have to go through data, you have to be analytical. Problem solving skills, because we all know that Murphy's Law happens all the time. Multitasking skills, time management skills, and our last one is networking skills, whether direct or indirect. I think Felicia mentioned something like that as well.
Yeah.
So that's where LinkedIn comes in and different social media.
Yeah, thank you so much. You know, networking has changed, right, with this COVID.
Yeah, a lot.
A lot. So we're going to deal with that a little bit in this class, and because it's very hard to meet new people and to create those relationships. So, but thank you so much, and nice to meet you as well.
Thank you.
Who's next? Are we done? We might be done. That's okay. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Great start. And I'll be doing another one of these in this class today. So yeah, the skills of sponsorship are vast, and you're going to find that one of the key ingredients to any sponsorship and to be effective in sponsorship is to have great sales skills. And when you think about a great salesperson, you think about somebody typically in your mind that is vivacious and can get along with people and has lots of energy. But the reality is a good salespeople knows how to adapt themselves. And I talked about this earlier, some of you did as well, about being flexible with their own style. And we're going to get into that. That skill of flexibility is critical. It's even more critical in COVID too, because you have to come across a certain way to people, and you're not being able to be in the same physical environment. So it makes it even tougher. So I want to thank you for that. So I'm going to move on to sponsorship definitions. And what I'd like you to do is I want to be able to speak the same language. Okay. So basically, I'm going to introduce a word. An example that may be, what's philanthropy? And then I'd like someone to blurt it out what they think it is, and then I'll explain what it is afterwards. Okay? I need participation in this exercise. Normally this would have been done in class, a little harder on this medium, but this is we're going to learn some new words. Some of them you may know, some of them you may not know. But it's important because we need to know these when we're talking about sponsorship, so that when I start explaining things like leveraging or value add or whatever, we're going to be on the same page. Okay, so let's start off. Okay, the first one is, what is philanthropy? Does anybody want to explain what they think philanthropy is?
Charity.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Just charity.
It's charity. Anything else?
I was going to say generous donations.
Yeah, it has to do with donations. Very good. Anything else, guys?
say, like working alongside organizations that are non-for-profit or donating your time to a charity type thing.
Yeah, that's great. So you guys got it. So philanthropy really is, it's either an act. So it doesn't have to be monetary. It's an act, but it's also it's done for the betterment of humanity. It usually involves some type of a sacrifice, which could be time, could be money, and there's no motive behind it. It's unconditional. And so corporations typically will give funds, and they're not considered sponsorship funds. And there's a difference. A sponsorship fund is for a monetary measurable gain. Philanthropy is giving sponsors. And the reality is, philanthropy also can be done individually like yourselves. You're all young and up and coming, but you can also decide during this time or outside of COVID to give back somehow. And so I'm going to play a little video of what I believe philanthropy really is. Here we go.
Hi there, my name's Peter Leroy, and this is my store.
1 second
I've
after
been selling
the
pens
ad.
and paper and...
Here we go.
The Simple Show explains, what is philanthropy? This is James. James wants to make an impact in his community and the world around him, but he isn't sure where to start. He also feels like any effort he undertakes isn't big enough to really make a difference. How can James find a strategic way to give back effectively? James needs a crash course in philanthropy. Philanthropy is something that anyone can do, no matter your age, income, or location. Philanthropy
Ron, the video is invisible.
Humanity.
Oh,
so
Yeah,
it's
like
not
you gotta put it back to the tab.
Thank you. 1 second. So it didn't come up?
Like
No,
it's just
no,
a
just-
screen.
Just the voice.
Okay, 1 second.
Yeah, we could hear it, but there was no video itself.
Thank you for letting me know. 1 second, okay? All right. I'll start it back again. All right. Okay, can you see it now?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, thank you.
The Simple Show explains, what is philanthropy? This is James. James wants to make an impact in his community and the world around him, but he isn't sure where to start. He also feels like any effort he undertakes isn't big enough to really make a difference. How can James find a strategic way to give back effectively? James needs a crash course in philanthropy. Philanthropy is something that anyone can do, no matter your age, income, or location. Philanthropy in Greek means for the love of humanity. So it's not just about writing checks. It's about compassion and community. What steps does James need to take to begin his philanthropy strategy? The first step is to know what you care about. A great way to figure out where your passions lie is to think about how you spend your time, money, and energy already. James is a teacher, and he loves the outdoors. So for him, it's education and the environment. Next, James needs to get organized. There are many ways to be a philanthropist. You can donate your time, your money, or your voice. James begins to use Facebook and Twitter to tell his friends and followers about the issues that matter to him. He also decides to set aside his coffee money twice a week so he can contribute to a cause. Finding the right place to donate can be confusing. Many organizations try to rate charities based on their financial metrics, but James also wants to know who is getting results. He finds an organization that is successfully helping to reforest thousands of sequoias, his favorite tree. He makes a contribution with the money he's been saving, and his donation enables 20 trees to be planted. James wants to use his influence to get more people involved. He tells his second graders about his tree project and encourages each of them to donate a quarter every week for the giant sequoias. After 3 months, his class is able to plant 30 more trees. Pretty soon, the principal takes notice, and before long, every classroom in the district has joined James' Tree Campaign. Gina's daughter attends school in the district where James teaches, and she has noticed her daughter's enthusiasm for the project. Gina wants to multiply the impact of the idea, and due to her high profile and financial resources, she can. Gina needs a large-scale philanthropy strategy. That's where Global Philanthropy Group comes in. Global Philanthropy Group provides Gina with a team of experienced and passionate people who work with her to refine her vision and develop a large-scale strategy. They help her build the legal and operational framework to launch a foundation, as well as develop partnerships to scale James' Tree Campaign. They identify a company working to improve its environmental footprint and get them to make a substantial contribution to the reforestation. James was able to mobilize others to take action on the issues that matter most to him. Gina is taking his idea and helping it evolve strategically, dramatically expanding its reach. James used to think that as one person, he couldn't make a difference. But he's come to realize that he does have the ability to inspire others and truly make an impact. Philanthropy is for everyone. Philanthropy is for the love of humanity. For more information, visit www.globalphilanthropy.com.
Okay, so I'm just going to stop sharing and go back to the slides. 1 second. So philanthropy obviously is more than just giving, writing a check. Philanthropy can be involved for yourself by giving your time and resources, but you can also leverage that and actually make it a much bigger initiative, as the video outlined. Now, this is somebody, everybody know who this is, right? Pretty obvious. Oprah. She does a great job of explaining in a video that I'm going to share with you in Blackboard, so you can look at it on your own. But what she talks about is a view on philanthropy, and that she and her organization gives a lot of money to different groups, and she helps small companies start up. She helped launch his books, but she doesn't just do it to write checks. She does it to really make a difference, and make a difference for things and causes that she cares about. And so she has a really good point of view, and I encourage you, when I make the post in Blackboard, to take a look at her video. I'm going to go to the next definition. So if that's philanthropy, so what is sponsorship then? Anybody? Are you there?
Philanthropy is for the love of humanity, and sponsorship doesn't always have to be for humanity.
Anyone else?
I feel sponsorship.
Go ahead.
I feel sponsorship is for a reason. It is not for like you need to have a reason to sponsor someone to a company, maybe in terms of products or in terms of money. But there is a reason behind it. But in the other words, philanthropy, I believe, should be more out of love.
Yeah, I think you kind of got it there. It's basically, it's cash or in-kind fee paid for a property for a return on investment. What I mean by that is you can say a cash sponsorship. So it could be $100,000 sponsorship, but you could also do in kind. In kind means giving product instead. A lot of beverages companies or car companies, when they sponsor an event, they may give free vehicles or free beer or free whatever in an effort to pay for some of their sponsorship. So if the $100,000 may be partially in cash, partially in kind. And a lot of times the event will use that product to generate more revenue. So they may use the beer they have in the beer garden at an event, sell the beer and make a profit off that beer, and basically they don't have to pay for the beer because it was included in the sponsorship. But the main difference between, as you've mentioned, sponsorship and philanthropy is this element of a cash or in-kind relationship where you want a return on investment. You want to basically exploit the commercial potential associated with that property.
So, Ron, would you say it's more giving something to get something in return? So, in other words, like you're not going to do something for someone unless you yourself make some sort of profit out of it. Whereas with philanthropy, you're just doing it out of the goodness of your heart with no expectation of something in return, except for the greater value of what you're giving yourself to.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So I like to say philanthropy is unconditional, right? There's no strings attached. You're not doing it. A good example of that was the original founder of Tim Hortons in Canada, Ron Joyce. He created the Tim Horton Children's Foundation. When I ran the marketing department, he didn't want us to talk about Camp Day. He didn't want us to talk how much money they were raising. He didn't want to exploit what they were doing. He wanted just to do it out of the goodness of his heart. We actually ended up convincing him to talk about it, but in an unself-serving way, because we wanted people to know about it. He didn't really care if anybody knew about it, so he was really doing it from the bottom of his heart, not to generate profits. And sponsorship, as you mentioned, is something else. So the next definition is sponsorship advertising. It's really where a company pays to be associated with a specific event, and that's an important element. So sponsorship advertising is they pay to be associated with an event. They get value back. So they get value back in terms of signage. They may get a media deal where they get free advertising on their broadcast if there's actually television coverage. They may get exposure by being able to put one of their advertisements on the broadcast. That happens a lot in the Olympic Games, for example. An Olympic sponsor can pay, they may be one of the top Olympic sponsors, and they get free spots through the broadcast on the channels out there. And it's usually specific to the country that you're in. So in addition, if sponsors are there, how would you define a sponsor then? What's a sponsor?
I'd say like a sponsor is someone who's kind of helping the event get on a roll. Like when I do soccer tournaments, I look for sponsors to be like on the jerseys. Okay. And then in turn, they're getting advertising depending on the tier that they're in. So if they want to be on the front of the jersey, they pay X amount and they're like on the front and they get to choose their placement. They get advertising through banners and through any other thing that they feel is necessary, if they have a tent and things like that. Whereas like a smaller sponsor may not have the funds, let's just say, to be on a shirt, but they want to come with a tent and have like little pamphlets with information on what they offer.
Thank you. Yeah, you said something. They are the payer, so they pay a fee typically.
Yeah.
Right, and that fee is to be associated somehow commercially with the property. So you mentioned some of those ways. Depending on what they're paying, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a really important element. And in Canada, who are the top sponsors in kids' sports today? Can anybody name them, do you think?
Canadian Tire,
yeah. What else? Who else?
Gatorade, I would say.
Say that again, please. I couldn't hear it.
Gatorade, I know, is big for hockey. They have all the water bottles and everything.
Okay, sure. Who else?
Donald?
Scotiabank.
Scotiabank, yeah. Scotiabank.
Canadian Tire.
I was gonna say OVO for basketball.
Yeah.
I was gonna say OVO. It's one of Drake's company for basketball, like especially the Raptors.
Yeah, that's an amazing one. He really takes advantage of that, his relationship with them too, doesn't he? So, you know, the actual top spending sponsors in Canada are on the screen now. So Tim Hortons is by far the biggest spender on kids sports. I'm talking kids sports. Some of you mentioned Canadian Tire. They actually have a foundation. Does anybody know the name of the foundation?
The Jumpstart program.
That's right. Can you explain what it is?
I could be off here, but I think it's that they give funding to kids to attend like different sports programs or like social programs, like could be after school program or summer camp. So they kind of help fund those programs for kids.
That's right.
I think that's.
Go ahead. Sorry. Yeah, that's correct. So Canadian Tire is a big sponsor that way. Nike obviously is a great big sponsor. McDonald's is huge as well, and BMO. Now, someone mentioned Scotiabank. Scotiabank has really upped their game, but they're not necessarily as involved in younger kids' sports, but they have really upped their game in terms of overall sponsorship. So thank you, guys. The next one, what's a property? I'm going to mention property a lot. What do you think a property is? And I'm not talking your property of your house where you live.
Maybe like a public organization or company.
Okay, yeah.
Rights to content.
Anyone else?
Maybe a product.
It could be. Actually, guys, a property is the identity or the event that a brand can sponsor, can utilize to achieve their objectives. And really, as I talked about earlier, the property is the event. So the property could be, you might sponsor the NHL, National Hockey League, or the NFL. And that's the property. It could also be the specific event like the Super Bowl or the Olympic Games. And usually it's there, you're providing opportunity. The property has opportunity based on the people watching it, the target audience that is watching. This is also sometimes referred to as a sponsee. Okay, so sponsor or sponsee. The sponsee is the event or the property that we are sponsoring. Now, event marketing is a promotional strategy usually used within a sponsorship. So typically, a promotional strategy linking a company to a special event to support a corporate objective. So usually event marketing is done in form of the sponsorship. So if someone sponsors an event, they will leverage that event and create a event marketing initiative around that event. And an example of that could be sampling, could be an experiential marketing. But all in all, typically event marketing is that promotional strategy linking a company to a special event to meet the objectives of the corporation. Anybody can explain what experiential marketing is?
Marketing an experience, offering an experience that isn't offered anywhere else.
Sort of. It's an element of that. Anyone else?
Creating an event that will specifically market a product so people feel closer to that product or want to buy it because they're gaining knowledge about it through an experience.
Yeah, could you give me an example?
I can offer an example. I
Sure.
think a pop-up event, let's say, I know there are a lot of pop-up events that happen in Toronto
Yeah.
that are referred as experiential marketing events.
Yeah. So what's really trending today is sponsors really look for great activation so they can get their brand in front of the target audience at the event. If it's a sporting event or an arts event or say it's a national ballet event. And they want to be able to connect face to face with the target audience of that event. It involves engaging and interactive type of activity. So it could be more than just sampling. It could be an actual, as you mentioned, pop-up activity. It could be an event where you're connecting and creating an emotional response with the audience. And this can't typically be achieved through just signage or traditional advertising. So we're going to talk a lot about experiential marketing. I'm going to just share a little video with you, some top experiential marketing activations out there. Here we go. And I'm going to start this and then change my screen. So 1 second. You see my screen?
Yep.
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
All I need you to do is stomp and clap, and I'm gonna do the rest because I've had 5 flights today, and I just cannot do the regular boring announcement again. Otherwise, I'm gonna put myself to sleep. So, you guys with me? All right. So give me a stomp, clap, stomp, clap. Come on, stomp, clap, stomp, clap. Stay on beat there. There you go. Keep that going. This is Flight 372 on SWA. The flight attendants on board serving you today. Teresa in the middle, David in the back. My name is David, and I'm here to tell you that.
Right. So yeah, that's an example of a lot of different experiential marketing activations. Now, the critical element to this is that it connects to the target audience and that it really can create an emotional response with the activation in a way that really is memorable, emotional, engaging, and sociable so that people will share it through user-generated content on their channels, on their social media channels. So, you know, experiential marketing is a big part of any sponsorship today. I used to be the head of an experiential marketing company called Launch Brand Marketing. These are some of the programs we did. We did the Moosehead program where we connected students on campus to Moosehead through various promotions. VJ Search we did with Xbox. So lots of different things that we've done. We launched Warnaco, for example, lingerie line, which was a really hard one to do, just kidding. But anyway, all these experiential events we did helped our clients connect to the target audiences. So the next one is, can anybody tell me what a title sponsor is?
The sponsor, I think, is the main sponsor whose name is associated with an event mainly, and he's promoted again and again whenever the event is introduced to the public. And I think he offers the most amount that, yeah.
Yeah, so you're right. So it's the name is incorporated into the name, into the sponsored event. Can anybody give me an example of a title sponsored event?
Scotia Bank Arena.
That's close. That's a facility. That's a property. So actual something else that it would be sponsored.
Pepsi and the Super Bowl.
Well, Super Bowl typically doesn't have a title sponsor. They may have a presenting sponsor.
I was going to
CIBC
say
Run for the Cure.
Say that. Sorry, go. Who went for? Someone else started. Sorry,
CIBC Run for the Cure.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So the name of the sponsor is first. BC Run for the Cure, for example. The name is up front. It's synonymous with the event itself. Another good example of that is the RBC Canadian Open, which is the Canadian Open Golf PGA Championship here in Canada. So what's the difference then between title sponsor and presenting sponsor?
The presenting sponsor don't necessarily have their name in the actual word mark, or doesn't really appear in the same section like the title sponsor.
You're absolutely right.
It's not a part of the name of the event.
That's right. It's not part of the title of the event. So it's usually an example of that is like the music. It's actually the YouTube Music Awards. That YouTube is the title sponsor, but presented by Kia, or the All-Star Game presented by T-Mobile. You can see the difference here. So again, it's presented by. It's not part of the name of the actual event itself. What's a media sponsor?
Someone that takes care of the social and digital content.
Not necessarily. Anybody else?
For the coverage of your event, like ESPN, for example?
Yeah, that's correct. So if everybody knows right now TSN is doing the Raptors, the playoff games right now in the NBA. So they are a media sponsor of the NBA in Canada. And they broadcast, and they usually pay for those rights. They pay for the rights to broadcast. This is very typical. The Olympic Games always does this. They go out and they get media sponsors, and the media sponsors pay for the rights to broadcast the Olympic Games, and they pay a hefty fee. Okay, so it's a very important one, and the media sponsors also work with the event in giving deals back to the sponsors to allow them to advertise for that event itself.
Ron, would
Yeah.
you mind just going back to the slide where you described present, I think it was present sponsor?
Presenting sponsor.
Sorry.
Yeah. So this is, again, they are a big sponsor. They pay a lot of money, but they're not associated with the name of the event. It'd be like the Olympic Games brought to you by Kodak or brought to you by Pepsi or Nike. It's presented by, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, thank you so much.
Opposed to Nike Olympic Games, which they'd never do, but that, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Sure.
That on what basis do we really differentiate a title sponsor and presenting sponsor?
That's a good
Like
question.
what is, sorry.
It's usually determined by the actual event itself. So a very big event, will not want to give a title sponsorship because a big event could be like the World Cup of soccer. There'd be presenting sponsors, but it's not going to be the Coca-Cola World Cup of World Cup. However, some events feel it's worthy to give up the branding of their event, and they'll basically charge a hefty fee for someone to be a title sponsor. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
An example would be like Scotiabank Caribbean Carnival.
Yeah, so that's a big festival event in Toronto, but it's not a world event. So they would sell that to gain money to help run their event. They could get a hefty fee for that in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
So in-kind sponsorship. Anybody know what that is?
We spoke about it briefly, right? With companies providing products instead of payment.
That's exactly right. So basically you're paying for your sponsorship with product. Now usually in-kind sponsorships are in combination with a cash sponsorship. It's not usually together. Like you usually don't just have an in-kind sponsor unless it's a smaller event or a new event. Okay. What's inventory? I don't mean in the store. I'll tell you what it is. So basically, every event has an inventory of physical and non-physical assets that are available to the sponsors. An example of that, a physical asset could be a sign, could be a digital sign or a real hard sign, could be, if it's, let's say it's a hockey game, could be the logo on the ice, the rink boards. These are all things you can touch and feel. A non-physical asset is also part of the inventory. That could be activation, experiential marketing activations, for example. You can't touch it or feel it, but it's available to the sponsor depending on the level of sponsorship they have bought into. And basically, this is all customizable. So each sponsor will negotiate with the event specific physical assets inventory they want and non-physical assets which they want to develop. The last one, I believe, is sponsorship activation, which is really the marketing activities that a company conducts around their sponsorship to leverage its sponsorship. You'll see Coca-Cola do this really well. So they'll typically spend money outside of the Olympic Games if they're sponsoring the Olympics. They get a lot of inventory items from the Olympics, but outside of the Olympic Games, they'll do promotions. They'll do in every country to leverage that activation. In addition, the Olympics usually give the rights for their bigger sponsors to use the Olympic rings. And therefore, Coca-Cola would use the Olympic rings on part of their packaging and their advertising, and they'll leverage those rings to associate their brand with the Olympic brand or the event brand that is currently being, is the ones that are offering the sponsorship. Okay, So activation is really key. It's the best way to really make your sponsorship as a sponsor come alive. What you want to do is you want to leverage that sponsorship, and you want to activate other elements to connect. And one of the best ways to do that is through experiential marketing, and some of you mentioned earlier, through social media. Sponsorship fulfillment is really delivering the benefits promised to the sponsor in the contract. So usually every sponsorship has a contract, and what you want to try and do is make sure you as the event organizer have delivered all the things, all the property assets you've promised to your sponsors, and you want to make sure you fulfill that so that the sponsor is getting the best value and they know they're getting what they asked for in the sponsorship. So the last one, this is the last one, is hospitality. This is usually an important element in sponsorship. Anybody know what hospitality means in a sponsorship package?
So hospitality is basically the friendly and generous reception of entertaining any guests, whoever is coming to our event. So, and taking care of them as hospitality to make them feel comfortable.
Yeah, so close. So usually, hospitality is you're able to, a company is able to host their key customers or clients at a VIP event. So the event gives them a hospitality items. It's usually a designated area at the event. It could be a box that they're given. It could be a special area where you could entertain your different clients, customers, employees of the event. You can see the different ways. It's usually a VIP area that is given to the sponsor, and it usually is an add-on to the sponsorship package. Typically, companies love this because it gets their organization involved. A lot of times, an organization has salespeople. They sponsor an event, like Bell would sponsor an event. They would invite one day all their salesmen to the event. Like maybe they sponsor the Canadian Open in golf. They would come and be part of all the activities and festival event outside of the event itself. They get to be part of the hosting area. And so hospitality can be a very important element added to any sponsorship. So those are all the initial definitions. I just wanted to get them out there for you. We're running out of time. We're almost right out of time. I wanted to go back to the evaluation that I said at the beginning of class, and I want to thank you for outlining. I got the reading week wrong. And so this is the new timetable. I've also reposted it in the critical path area so that you have it and that you know when to expect it. You can see the difference here. The group sales presentation will be on August the 19th on Zoom in class with your teammates, your classmates. I will be creating groups and you'll have those groups available to you for next class, so you can start working on this well ahead of the time. I don't think you have a lot of time. You almost have 2 months for this before it's due, but I just wanted to let you know and thank whoever brought that up, that I had the wrong date in there. Okay, so are there any questions?
Yes, sorry to interrupt, Ron. I just talking about that date. It looks like October 19th is a Monday.
Okay, I'm losing.
Sorry.
So it's October 20th. I'm gonna change
Okay,
that.
thanks.
I was, yeah, it'll be the 20th. So it's during your class, okay? So again, I will make another change. I did this quickly on the break. I will make another change. It will be the 20th. And I appreciate when you guys can help me like this. So anyway, any other questions?
Yes, Professor. So we don't have to worry about trying to find groups. You will put us in groups. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, I will randomly choose, just like the breakout sessions today.
Okay.
So I will put you in groups, not to worry. You don't, normally in class, I'd have you create your own groups, but it's pretty hard in this environment. I would also suggest you find a way to communicate A good way is WhatsApp. I don't know if you guys have, anyone's created a group, but
Yes, we already started.
oh, that's great. Yeah,
Yes.
that's a terrific way to communicate with your classmates.
Okay.
How can I get added to that WhatsApp group?
Well, if someone wants to send that to me, I will post it. I'll make an announcement and put a link to the WhatsApp group. If someone could send that to my email, ron.coughlin at humber.ca.
You have to make a sacrifice first.
I do? Okay.
Oh my God.
I won't join the group because I think it's a good place for you guys to anonymously talk together and work together. It's not for me to be part of that group.
The link is available in the chat box right now for whoever wants to join the group.
Let me just pull that up for everybody. There it is, right there. 1 second.
Yeah, in the Zoom chat box.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I tried it, but I can't join it. I don't know why.
Do you have a WhatsApp downloaded on your phone?
On my phone, yes.
You should be able to join.
Just need to go for on the settings on your WhatsApp.
Okay.
And then it's going to say WhatsApp web desktop.
Yes.
And this is where, when you open this link that's in the chat box, it's going to show you, you know, like a logo that you can scan. It's going to work. It will open it.
Ah, okay, perfect. Thank you.
No problem.
This is the actual channel. I'll repost these this as well in the announcement area so everybody has it too. Anyway, really great to meet everybody. Are there any other questions before we sign off today?
Ron, I just have a quick question. Sorry.
You go
ahead.
first. No, you go first.
Thank you. Ron, I'm just afraid of the test. So that makes me. So how?
Well,
I think that's a problem for everyone.
Yeah, I think you'll be fine. Don't worry. I cover everything today. I also want to remind you all that the readings are included in the test. So if you go to the critical path, you'll see this week chapters 1 and 2 in the sales book. You need to start reading it.
So are the tests going to be multiple choice, or it's going to be the hybrid combination of both?
It's a combination of true and false, multiple choice, matching, and ordering.
Oh, which means that it's not going to be a descriptive one.
Correct. It's going to be it's an online test.
No, I mean it's not going to be a written descriptive, like writing for 3-4 lines for an answer. For a question.
Like short answers.
It will
But
not
don't
be
give
short.
him any ideas.
Pardon?
Don't give him any ideas.
That's true.
The test is already created. I can tell you there's no short answers.
Is it the same for all the subjects or just for yours?
I don't know. I can't answer that. You'll have to ask your other professors. I think it's pretty difficult to do tests other than what I'm doing right now because of COVID. If it was a written test in person, you could do handwriting, but we're not able to do that. The nice advantage of this is you'll get your marks immediately.
Oh,
nice.
Perfect. I think you are going to make our life easier by giving us some easy questions.
I give you hints along the way, okay? So those sponsorship definitions today, they're on the test.
Thank you so much, Ron.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ron, do you mind if I ask one last question? I'm sorry, it might be a repetition, but I just want to make sure I got it right.
Okay.
Just for the discussion that's due on September 13th,
yeah.
Somebody mentioned that you asked for something, how has this changed with COVID that is not already on the blackboard?
Oh, yeah. So basically, I asked you guys to go in there today to talk about, just introduce yourselves. I forgot I had mentioned in there as well, and I'm glad someone brought it up, that I also want you to put your perspective on how events have changed. That's in the post. If you go to the discussion board, I'll show you right now. I'll actually go there for you, okay?
Thank you.
end the show. So, 1 minute. Okay.
I think the website, the Humber website was down because I was not able to log in all the time to my Humber.
Yeah, it might be overloaded. I hope not.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so you'll see here, it kind of explains what you need to do. Explain
Great.
how
So
the
it's here
digital
now.
world has shifted the way events and sponsors are activated today in COVID.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and if you guys, you should source where you get your information from, and at the end of your post, it's APA 7. So if you source somebody, their point of view, just make sure you recognize that in your post.
Yes, thank you.
Ron, did you want a specific format for the citation, or should we just put the link to the website?
Well, I would like you to start trying to do the same at APA 7.
Okay.
Okay. That just keeps us honest.
Is it like similar to Harvard referencing?
I'm not sure, but APA, if you Google APA 7, Purdue OWL, it's called, you'll get, it'll help. There's actually an APA 7 citation machine. You can Google that as well. The citation machine can help you when you get a link from something.
Okay.
Okay.
Ron, is there any difference between AP and APA 7, or what's that? Or is a version something like that?
APA
Because
7
normally in the Word, when you go to the reference tab, and you can just check, there are different reference styles like Harvard, AP, and other styles. So the AP is the regular AP, or the one you're talking is something different?
It's the regular APA, but it's the most current one. So APA 7 is the most current version of APA.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions?
Just quickly, I want to clarify that the LinkedIn and Twitter posts don't start this week. I remember you saying either next week or the week after. Can you clarify what week that starts?
No, it does start this week.
Okay, so it starts from this introduction class.
Mm-hmm. So just start to make posts. Use the hashtag BEMP 5006. Use other hashtags. Someone mentioned that earlier that relate to the topic that you're doing. Also, if you want to put at, you can put at my name, and I'll see it that way as well. But at the end of the day, what's really important is that you take a snapshot of it after you post it, and because you have to accumulate these and put them on a Word document at the end of the term in the assignment area. Drop your Word document with the posts and the dates to make sure that you cover every week.
And doing it just on the LinkedIn is all right with you, right?
That's fine. It's better for you if you do both, but you can just do it there.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Ron. Can I ask you the last question?
Sure can, yeah.
So are you gonna post this like whole lecture recorded during the class after this, like to review it for us?
Great question. Yes. So every class I record, it's being recorded right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then I upload it as an MP3 file and I put it on Blackboard. Now, sometimes the file's too big. So if it is, I will download it into YouTube and put a link to YouTube. One or the other, but it's going to be there for you. I usually do it the same day of the class, if not the day after.
Okay, so what about the PowerPoint you showed us during the class?
Yeah, so if you go to learning materials here,
Mm-hmm.
Blackboard, can you see my screen?
Oh yeah.
So in the first one, you'll see here if you click on that file, it will download the PowerPoint slide.
Oh, awesome. Thanks.
You also see, if you follow this down, you have a post you have to do. You click here, you go to the discussion board, and you have some reading to do. Okay?
Okay, so the other day I tried to download the reading materials, but it shows like some like programs I don't have it maybe, so I couldn't download it at all. So
Okay, so you need to buy the textbook.
oh, I see.
So the textbook,
Mhm.
I'll move this over, is these two textbooks. So we're starting with Selling Today
Mhm.
and then going to Sponsorship Handbook.
All right, perfect.
So the Manning textbook, which you're supposed to read the first two chapters in Selling Today.
Okay.
And as I mentioned, you may want to get together and
Mhm.
share a PDF bought through Google Play.
All right. Sounds great.
Ron, sorry
Thanks.
to interrupt. There were a few people who joined the WhatsApp group later, and even our conversation. In the WhatsApp group, there is a link for these two PDF. Someone has posted, and we can just you can just download it by clicking on it. There is two links in the WhatsApp group for this book. So someone let me try if I can just repost those in the WhatsApp group so that the people who joined late, yeah, someone is posting up. Thanks for that.
Can you put it in the chat area as well here of the Zoom?
One of them is a PDF.
It's already.
I don't know how to do that.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's already in the chat area.
It is? Okay, great. Thank you very much. Any other questions, guys? Okay, well, that was an eventful first class. I thank you for all your participation. I'm looking forward to I wish I could meet you all live, but I can't. Don't forget to do your post in LinkedIn. Don't forget to do your readings. Be prepared, because I like to have discussions about the topics you're reading about. And if you have any other questions, please email me at ron.coughlin, CAUGHLIN, at humber.ca. I put it on the screen here. You can see it. And I would start to make yourself familiar with the Blackboard site. I'm going to go back in and make some changes on the dates. I thought I'd done all that, but obviously I missed a couple. So I appreciate your feedback. Any help I can get from you when that happens is great. Just so you know about me, I've been teaching at Humber for 7-8 years now. I also teach at Centennial College. And so very busy. And I think we have 54 students in this class. So there's a lot of students, but I'm going to try my best to recognize you over time. It's easier not in the virtual world, but we'll go from there. So once again, thanks everybody. If there's not any more questions, I'll sign off.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.